Hey everyone, Motumbo here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are playing some more Historic here on Magic Arena. And today we are bringing another deck that we featured during our live stream over the weekend. A deck that we had a lot of fun playing, and a deck that will probably remind you of one of our previous ones in the form of that Liquimetal Stone Rain deck that we played. And again, that deck was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see people just randomly scoop, because people hate playing against land destruction. But with that being said, before we hop into today's deck, just want to remind everybody, if you like what you're seeing, if you like the video, the deck, anything like that, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff. But let's just hop right in now. And today we are playing Prosperous Skydiver. So again, this is a mono blue version of that Liquimetal Coating mono red deck where we were trying to stone rain our opponents out of the game. This is essentially just what we translate from mono red land destruction into mono blue land destruction, except we're going to have a few more types of land destruction in our deck, or a few more land destruction cards in our deck, assuming that we draw our Liquimetal Coating. Again, Liquimetal Coating is going to be the card that really brings this whole deck together. We are playing 4 copies main deck. I felt like we could not afford to play 3 in the main and 1 in the sideboard with Karn. I felt like we just had to play this deck, potentially aggressively mulligan for it, and then go from there. So again, Liquimetal Coating, what it says is a 2-mana artifact. You tap it to make anything an artifact in addition to its other types. So again, this is important because we are playing the Karn combo. Karn says activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. So you can do a lot of cool things, right? One thing you can put an upkeep stop on your opponent's turn if you don't have a way to destroy an artifact, and you can actually target one of their lands, turn it into an artifact, and then for the rest of their turn they won't be able to tap that or use any of its abilities. So it's a good way of shutting off land. It's just one of the many things that you probably saw in the last video. But what are we really trying to do, and what are we trying we're really trying to essentially stone rain our opponents, like I mentioned, but also we're going to be ramping at the same time. And how are we doing that? We are doing that with Thieving Skydiver. So Thieving Skydiver is actually a pretty unique card. It's a lot of fun. It's a 2-mana 2/1 with Kicker. And Kicker X, it can't be 0. So if you do this combo, you have to pay at least 1 mana into it. It is a flyer, but it says whenever it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with mana value X or less. If it was an equipment, you do get to attach it, but you know what? We're not worried about equipment. Again, we're worried about targeting our opponent's lands and locking them out of the game as quickly as possible, and at the same time ramping ourselves. So ideally what we want to do is on turn 2, we want to play Liquimetal Coating, and then on turn 3, on our turn, we're going to tap it, make one of their lands an artifact, and then we're going to pay 3 mana, 2 for the cost, 1 for the kicker. This is going to come into play. We're going to target their land, and we're going to gain control of their land for the rest of the game. And it's important because even if they were to kill Thieving Skydiver, we still will get to keep that land because of the ability. It does not say until end of turn. And this is going to have, like I said earlier, this is going to have a lot more land destruction in it because there are different ways to do land destruction in blue. We do have Aether Tradewinds. This is a 3-mana instant. It's going to return a permanent you control and a permanent that you don't control to their hands. So yeah, this would potentially on turn 3, you could bounce one of their land and one of your lands, and it could stutter their building, and then it's going to stutter you a little bit, but this may give you that extra turn to actually draw a card that you need in order to start actually doing the Liquimetal Coating combo like that. We also have Raven Form. So Raven Form is a 3-mana sorcery. It has Foretell, so we could foretell this on turn 2, but again, we really want to be casting Liquimetal Coating on turn 2. But with Raven Form for 3 mana, exile target artifact or creature. Its controller puts a 1/1 bird into play. We don't care about them having 1/1 bird. We can deal with creatures later on. But again, we're tapping to make an artifact. We could target anything, and then this will let us just destroy anything out of the game for 3 mana. And then, you know what? They get a bird. So what? But again, Aether Tradewinds also gives us the ability, I'm hopping back to this, and I do apologize, but Aether Tradewinds also does give us the ability to bounce one of their land, and then also bounce our Thieving Skydiver, and then do that again. We also have a bunch of cards that are going to allow us to either bounce things or bounce just their items or bounce some of our items as well in order to keep up this whole Thieving Skydiver just shenanigans that we're doing. We do have 4 copies of Unsubstantiate. It is a counterspell. It's a bad version of Remand, but it also has a like boomerang effect built into it as well, because again, we can return a spell to the hand or a creature to the owner's hand. So we could bounce our Thieving Skydiver, or we could utilize this as a counterspell temporarily. We do have Prosperous Thief. This is actually a really cool card, and it's going to synergize with our Skydiver as well. It is a 3-mana 2/4 with Ninjutsu. Ninjutsu is an ability that says whenever a creature is basically unblocked, you could pay the Ninjutsu cost and swap those creatures. So we would then put the Prosperous Thief into play after we attack with the Thieving Skydiver when it's not blocked, and then the Prosperous Thief would be in play, the Skydiver would be back in our hand, and then we'd be able to play the Skydiver again. How this is also going to be really easy to pull off, so to speak, is because Thieving Skydiver again has flying, and there are less flying creatures than non-flying creatures, so that could be beneficial and very, help us really pull this off a little bit easier. On top of that, whenever this creature deals damage, or any ninja or rogue deals damage, Thieving Skydiver is a rogue, notably, we do get to create a treasure token. So this will help ramp us a little bit temporarily for the next turn. We do have 2 copies of Portal of Sanctuary. I did not want to include a whole bunch of copies of this. Just again, this is really just one of those niche cards that we hope to pull off. It's more of, a win more condition. But it is a 3-mana artifact, and it lets us pay 1 and tap it to return a creature you control to the hand every turn. So we could essentially Thieving Skydiver every turn, lock them out of the game, and then go from there, right? By the time they don't have any lands in play, they're either going to be scooping, or then at that point, we're going to have so many lands in play, we can then start taking their other cards as well. Do have 4 copies of Welving Wave. Sometimes we do just need to get rid of a whole bunch of early game creatures and kind of reset the board so then we can try to take over. This is great, right? Returns all creatures to their owner's hands except for Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, and Serpents. Cards that we're probably not going to see our opponent be playing anyway. It's going to, again, allow us to bounce our Thieving Skydiver. And last but not least, we do have 2 copies of Invoke the Winds. This is really just a card I wanted to try in the deck. It's 5 mana, gain control of target artifact or creature, and you get to untap it. I did include this because of that. There is another card that costs 5 mana. It gives you some energy whenever you play it, but we're not utilizing anything that costs energy or we could spend our energy on. So I figured, you know what? I had a couple of these. It fits into the deck. Let's give it a shot. On top of that, we have 20 islands, 2 copies of Castle Vantress in case we go mid-game and we need to start scrying. And we have 2 copies of Ottawara. This could be utilized. We can't bounce our own things, but we can bounce our opponent's stuff, artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or planeswalker. Or actually, we can bounce it. I'm sorry. But again, we're going to be utilizing this to really just stutter our opponent's growth. That being said, we do have 4 copies of Karn, like I mentioned. The sideboard, 1 of all these: Tormod's Crypt, Grafdigger's Cage, Piling Needle, Godpharaoh Statue, Wormcoil Engine, Meteor Golem, Cityscape Leveler. Again, it's going to be a little higher up on the mana curve in this sideboard. I thought about putting in a Portal to Phyrexia, but I kind of felt like that wasn't really needed. But because we are stealing land as opposed to just most likely destroying land, I figured we could actually build up to some of these bigger cards in the sideboard. But yeah, that's the deck. Again, these games were pre-recorded. I do know the outcome. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but we did have a lot of fun. I believe that overall, the deck did have a winning record. I don't really know how many games we played overall, but some of these games are going to be short. Some of them are going to be longer. And again, a lot of fun. So with that being said, let's just hop right into the gameplay, and we will see you all at the wrap-up. Oh, that's hilarious. Eternal Pleb. This is historic. This would actually be a really sick hand if we got to go first. Oh. What is that? Hold on. 3 mana. Don't cast anything. Hapatra. Oh my god. Things are happening. I want one of your land. I guess if we can draw like a whelming wave, we're fine. Plus we can block here potentially. Oh, they're just sending it? What does this do? Do we block that? What do I steal here? Do I steal the Great Maw? Or do I steal the Hapatra? Hapatra can... It's like, what are we doing? What is happening right now? These have like... Okay, they have Death Touch. Oh, get ready for it. Oh, give me this. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That was amazing. For real, that was super amazing. Yeah, that game went really, really well. I'm a little disappointed that didn't get to record the game before it. But okay. Grazer. Oh, that can block. Portal. Oh my gosh. Oh, this land's going to come into play tapped. That feels kind of good. Death by Admiration. It just didn't feel great. Gimme. Oh my gosh. And farewell exiles, right? So it worked out. But then it didn't work out. So I mean, that's the good thing about Magic, right? Is like, regardless of what's supposed to be correct or efficient, you just play what you want to play. Uh-oh, it's this deck. That Whelming Wave is actually a really good draw. But I mean, I'm just going to give them another land, right? Like, what are they about to do? Sure thing. Yep, transmogrify. Okay. You get Liquimetal Coating. We all get Liquimetal Coating. Hey, you know what we need? That land right there. Yeah, let's put everything back. I mean, at least we know what they're doing now, right? So I guess we knew what they were doing the moment that they All right, we're going to try it again. they just scoop. Oh my god, this actually feels pretty good. All right, give me a few. Let me get up and recharge for a bit. 19 vaults. I think I have it set to one a day, right? Or one per stream. We go first. If we draw land, we're good. Oh, okay. Well, we gotta draw land. If we don't draw land here, we're just probably dead. What a fun and interactive game. Hey, look, we're at 12. Give me a land. One-time game. Thank you. It is a little disappointing here that they're still going to be able to kill Karn, but they have to kind of go all in to do it. Oh, maybe not, because they have land, because they drew all the land. Yeah, I mean, you have a Reckless Charge. It's right there. They have nothing else, though. This is great. Can you just not have land? Like, for real, for real? Um... Sure thing. All right, I do think we're gonna take their creature here. I mean, I do love how they're still in it, right? Do we do anything here? I don't think so. We need a way to pump up the Arcanist, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Whew! It always feels really good to beat that deck. Really good to beat that deck. We were gonna go in our sideboard and probably get God Pharaoh statue there, and then just lock that game down. On a positive note, while I was up wandering around the house, clearing my head, I did make another cup of tea. So Vlad from Dota. I mean, these are hands. That's a cool sleeve. Not enough caffeine in tea? I mean, I'm not necessarily drinking the tea for the caffeine. Yeah, that's a really cool sleeve. Like, I'm really digging this. Scoop. Oh, scoops. Scoops magoops. Gotta love that, right? Like, nobody likes land destruction. Hope you're doing well. I gotta pull up the camera. The missus is waiting for a delivery, and she doesn't want it to be sitting outside in the heat. This is one of those hands that is hot garbage. And this is better. Maybe they're just playing artifacts, so we can just take artifacts. Play Treasure Vault. Oh, what is that draw right there? Holy moly. Mono white. What is this? Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have ward. Non-legendary creatures you control get +1/+1. Black. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it has 2 or fewer judgment counters on it, put a counter on it. All right, so that's going to be sitting there for a while. Okay, so only legendary creatures have ward. It's good to know. And if it has 3 counters on it, that's when it can attack. Oh, when it dies, it becomes a curse? What is this? Hold on. Hold on. Let me read it. +1/+1, exile target non-land permanent you don't control. Oh, no! Lol. Lol, 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 lol. And this is when things went pear-shaped. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Because we're going to do this. And then we're going to go take a peek. Do I play another one of these? No. Okay. Good game, my friend. Yeah, things definitely went pear-shaped for a second, but then we quickly smoothed them out, right? Okay. Brodant. Don't think this is a keepable hand. This is better. Green black. I feel like those are pathways like you just never seen. Ooh, what is this? Shrines? Put a random shrine card from among the top 7 cards. Oh, I wish I could steal that. Wish I could steal this too. But I mean, next turn we could potentially bounce these, right? Like I could unsubstantiate the creature, and then I could Tradewinds, Banishing Light. Maybe I was supposed to bounce the Banishing Light instead. I don't know. What? Why would you give me that? How many cards is in their deck? 120? Oh my gosh. Any target, right? All right, the driver is actually here, and he's. Why are they quitting? Why are they quitting? Team, don't quit like that. Don't do it. All right. Yeah, I have no idea why they conceded that game. I mean, we were doing a lot of annoying things, but I don't really feel like they were in any danger. Right? They could still produce any color mana they needed. I mean, obviously, if they were trying to cast the 5 mana or the 5 color shrine, yeah, we kind of hindered that a little bit. But other than that, I mean, they were drawing multiple cards a turn. Luris. It's always Luris. to mulligan this. Keep, I guess. This is probably too slow. Let's just draw the coating off the top. Believe. That's definitely an artifact. Yeah, I don't want them to do anything crazy right now. Yeah, let me have that. Let me have that. Whelming Wave's pretty funny. We can just make tokens. Never been in this position before. Well, we definitely have all of the Raven forms. Oh, they're going to scoop. Oh, I mean, they didn't draw land, right? But neither did we. But we were going to... We could foretell one of those. Make a 4/4. Yeah, we were good. Okay. This deck's working pretty well. Terramon. Opponent goes first. Not with this hand. Oh, not with this hand either. Keep. Well, we've drawn all of the thieves. And our opponent has burned all of their brain activity. Come on, my friend. Let's give him the old wave. Ooh. This is 4 to use, right? Yeah. All right. keep doing it. Obviously, they don't want us to have that one extra mana. Really? Okay. Did you draw 3 of those like we drew 3 of these? No, you're doing 9 live stuff. I mean, anytime you see Idyllic Tutor, it's 9 lives. Let's just be real. Okay. I wonder what they got. Interesting. I really need to hit a Liquimetal Coating. Did I bounce? I don't think so. What sucks, though, is I can't play Karn, right? Because Karn won't get counters. Oh, that sucks. Okay, sure. Sure thing, my dude. We'll figure it all out later when we get there, right? they're scooping it up. We still had to get through the solemnities, right? But eventually we would have, right? We would have gotten to the point where we take veto, and so eventually what happens is I can either trade wins once they have no land in play, bounce the solemnities, get a Karn down, and then just end the game. It was going to take a few turns, but I mean, I actually liked where we were. So. All right, everyone, welcome back to the wrap up. And as you could see, those games were a lot of fun. We actually did get to pretty much utilize all aspects of the synergies that we put in. You know, we did get to Karn, Liquimetal Coating. We got to Thieving Skydiver a whole bunch. We got to Ninjutsu. We got to bounce with the Tradewinds and kill things with the Raven form. We got to use Unsubstantiate in the different modes. We actually got to use Portal of a Sanctuary. We got to reset the board with Whelming Wave. And we did even get to steal some interesting things with the Invoke the Winds. Now, again, you know, we saw some people concede the game at certain times. And again, yes, it may feel correct to concede, you know, but really do what you feel is necessary, right? If we were playing competitive, or maybe not necessarily competitive, but if we were playing ranked, you don't necessarily want to concede as soon as, you know, the first land gets taken. Again, right, we can't see our opponent's hands, but there are some situations to where, you know, you do want to try to play through. Maybe if that happens a couple more times, or maybe give it a draw or two and see if you can recover and draw a land or two. But, you know, you never really know what your opponent's trying to do. Our deck could have just literally been tried to pull off a turn 3 land destruction or land steal, and then we don't have anything else, right? Maybe our deck is just a dirtle deck, which is a real thing, right? Some people do build decks just to kind of sit there and just upset the opponent and not actually have a win condition. But, you know, we do have win condition in the form of our creatures on our sideboard. But again, right, do what you feel is best for you. You know, if conceding and going to the next game does, you know, make you enjoy the game more, please do that. But if you are trying to win, don't necessarily just give up at the first sign of losing. But yeah, this deck is a lot of fun. This deck is honestly on the cheaper end to build, right? I know that with this kind of archetype, there's not a lot of it on Arena, right? Like if we had the card Boomerang in our deck, or in Arena in general, just the card Boomerang, that would actually make this deck a lot more viable, because just for 2 mana you can bounce any permanent. That actually would be considered pretty powerful, I feel like. It's kind of on the line of how they added Memory Lapse, which is a mistake, and then they had to ban it, right? Because Memory Lapse for 2 mana counter / time walk your opponent, so it could be kind of brutal. So I don't really ever see a card like that coming to Arena. I could be wrong. But again, right, the more cards they kind of build or add that you can build around Liquimetal Coating, or just use it to completely, you know, take that tempo away from your opponent, could potentially be detrimental to the game. And that's why they probably haven't added cards like Molten Rain or Pillage, or other cards like that. You know, even like Avalanche Riders. You know, too much of one thing could potentially just, you know, make the game unfun. But, you know, while we have a very limited amount of those resources in the game, I am going to play it. I'm going to have fun with it. Again, I'm not trying to necessarily upset people, but I am trying to show people that there are a lot of different ways to play the game. There are definitely different viable options, whether it is control, aggro, land destruction, combo, any other random jank, or however you want to, you know, mid-range. There's just so many different ways, and you can really do those things in any of the colors, right? You're not control is not limited to just a blue control deck, right? And you've seen that in all my videos where we you can pretty much play anything in anything, and that's what makes this game actually really great. But with that being said, again, if you liked the video and you liked everything about it, or even if you didn't like it, you know, leave a comment. Let me know what you did or didn't like about the deck, about my videos in general. Please join the Discord. That would be amazing, you know, and like the video, and you know, subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the channel. We're starting videos back up, and you know, any help would be amazing. I would really, really appreciate it. Again, still getting used to talking in front of the camera and, you know, gathering my thoughts in a cohesive way that everybody can understand. I do know in the intro of this video, I was actually a little excited about this deck because I did have a lot of fun playing it, and maybe got a little overzealous and couldn't gather my thoughts. But you know what? We're just going to keep making videos. We're going to keep just getting used to it. And I'm here to have fun, really nothing more. So, and I want to spread the joy of this game, and hopefully pull some people in and give them some ideas on what to brew. But again, thanks everyone for watching. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Please stay safe, and we will see you all next time.